Yeah.
Doug Rodriguez is a culinary pioneer.
He was hungry not so much for fame. He was interested in becoming a food explorer.
Vamos a hacerlo en la mesa, en la presentación.
Born of Cuban immigrants, he's taken Latin cuisine to a whole new level.
Douglas Rodriguez is the most important Latin chef in the restaurant world.
And joining me right now is Douglas Rodriguez. He is the chef owner of Hola Miami. He also runs our own Patria in New York. And Douglas, it's good to see you.
Good to have you in Miami.
And especially your other title, the King of Ceviche. Is it good to be the king?
It's better than being the queen, I think.
Well, that's a whole nother story.
But it hasn't been easy. He's had to break down cultural barriers. How one chef put Latin America on the culinary map and found his own calling at the same time. It's Saturday afternoon in South Beach, Miami, and Chef Douglas Rodriguez is pumped for the busiest night of the week at his hip new restaurant, Hola.
Showtime at the Apollo.
You almost get the feeling Doug Rodriguez would do this job for free. He was born to be a chef.
But check this out, Carlitos. Just waving it across. I'm not doing anything. Just tapping it. Very soft, gentle. Perfect. I want to see the tuna. Show me the tuna. Brilliant. I just want to say good evening. I'm the chef Douglas Rodriguez. I love to feed people. Love to feed my family, my kids, my friends. I love turning people on to new foods.
And he's making a very good living from that passion. All are critically acclaimed.
Doug entered the stratosphere of superstar chef pretty much almost immediately. He had created a signature cuisine, which is something that chefs either consciously or unconsciously strive for.
In the early 1990s, Chef Rodriguez created Nuevo Latino, or New Latin cuisine. It combines traditional Latin American ingredients and flavors, but with an added modern twist.
Douglas's food not only embraces our past, but it propels us to the future.
I'll still borrow any ingredient, dish, anything inspires me from any Latin American country.
Douglas began with Cuba, his parental birthplace, but he quickly, because of his curiosity and imagination, began to embrace the totality of Latin cooking.
The very first thing that I tasted from Douglas was a plantain-crusted mahi-mahi in an oxtail stew. How can you take an oxtail stew and mix it with a fish? It doesn't work unless you're Douglas Rodriguez, and then it's brilliant.
And being Doug Rodriguez is pretty good these days. His profile's still growing, thanks to his 4 cookbooks and many television appearances.
I'm Cuban.
These are very good.
Author of Douglas Rodriguez's Latin Flavors on the Grill, a beautiful cookbook. And Douglas, nice to have you on our show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hi,
Well,
Douglas.
now, what exactly are we going to do?
At the forefront is my friend here, Chef Douglas Rodriguez, the godfather of what's called Nuevo Latino cuisine. Give me a working definition, Nuevo Latino cuisine.
Working definition is it's any Latin American country. I'm not prejudiced. I beg and borrow from all of them.
Chicamo, yeah, is that Chicamo? Has written this book. Yes, and this is Latin Flavors on the Grill. And he's right out there. There he is on 67th Street. Douglas, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Regis. It's Chicama, not whatever you said.
Well, Chicamo.
Chicama.
All right, good. Now, what are you going to make out there on the grill for
I'm grilling some tuna steaks, and I'm serving it with a mango ginger lime mojo.
On today's show, we're grilling with a Latin spice.
Our first guest has been called the godfather of contemporary Latin American cuisine. I'm gonna get a little
Everything
bit of
that everybody wants.
Tell us what you think, baby.
Oh,
Susan loves it.
thank you.
Douglas Rodriguez brought new Latino cooking to New York. He started this now national trend.
New Yorker Douglas Rodriguez is perhaps the pioneering pan-Latin American chef in this country. His food is vibrant and fresh-tasting, and he incorporates multiple Latin American influences and ingredients without being fussy and complicated. He first came to foodies' attention at Yucca in Miami. New Yorkers got to sample his cooking at the hopping Park Avenue hotspot Patria.
Being that in Miami, most of my employees were from a different Latin American country, I was exposed to a lot of different Latin American foods. So when we moved to New York to open up Patria, I decided to broaden my horizons a little bit and do more fusion of different Latin American countries.
When Chef Rodriguez opened Chicama, the New York Times reviewer William Grimes acclaimed. Some chefs merely cook. Others generate a special brine of excitement that somehow becomes part of the food. Douglas Rodriguez is one of these.
The chef is Douglas Rodriguez, a big deal. I think he's one of those big personalities on the restaurant scene, and where he goes, a crowd follows. So he's his own movable party.
After Chef Douglas opened Patria in New York City, prominent New York Times restaurant reviewer Ruth Reichl observed, "Somewhere between the steamed armadillo I was served in China and the truffled coxcombs in the south of France, I lose the ability to be surprised by food. I found it again at Patria."
And in 1991, he was nominated for a James Beard Rising Star Award against notable chefs Todd English and Bobby Flay.
In 1996, the James Beard Foundation named Rodriguez Rising Star Chef of the Year.
In 1997, Newsweek magazine named Chef Rodriguez as one of the 100 people to watch as America prepares to pass through the gate to the next millennium in their celebrated issue, The Century Club.
Douglas Rodriguez kind of invented this kind of new kind of food when he cooked in Miami maybe 10 or 12 years ago.
We really love this restaurant.
And Douglas Rodriguez is an extremely special chef.
Mussels in this and clams and
Mussels,
scallops?
clams, scallop, calamari, tuna, and then it's flavored with a base of lime juice, citrus juices, cilantro, spices, and it's colored with a little squid ink, actually.
牛探しでお腹を空かした後はもちろん食。この夏一押しの料理は何といってもセビチェ。
Congratulations to the new Chicago place. That's my old stomping ground. You're going to be right by the river there, right?
Yeah, on the river. Yep.
Congratulations. Cleanses the palate.
In between the bites, yeah.
Tell me about muddling here. We've got some muddled drinks.
Hi, Doug.
How are you?
Good to see you.
How are
Great
you?
to see you.
Great.
Chef Douglas Rodriguez.